God, I see the Mighty Ducks guy.
Yes. Yes. I decided to actually give them a rewatch. I was like, I had it out, and I was like, you know what?
Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth.
I'm actually going to rewatch them because I watched them as a kid.
You know what's funny?
Since.
Is I had not seen these movies in a while, and I should have watched them again this last week. I almost had the inclination because I have this trailer channel I follow, and he's always dropping 35 millimeter 4K scans of old trailers. And this last week he dropped the Mighty Ducks trailer, and I'm like, God damn, that was pretty edgy for early 90s fucking Disney.
Yeah. A little.
Yeah. That first movie was,
Well, I'd be curious to hear what you think if you watch all three of them. So this is the first time I watched all three.
I've only seen the first one.
I'm not a big fan of the third one.
I remember not liking the third one as much either, but on rewatch, I think it's actually pretty good. Like, so all three of them, I think, have they like perfected that what is it, like underdog type of story that they always do, and like the certain beats that you have throughout the movie where they don't get along at this point.
This is a Bad News Bears movie,
things like that. Yeah, I guess so. I haven't seen Bad News Bears, but I believe
that's the genre that started it.
But they do it really well, I think, because that's the thing. You can have a movie that started the genre. You can have a movie that does that formula and do it badly, do it horrible. This does it in all the ways. Like, hits you in those little spots. But the story throughout all three of them is mainly the first two is mostly about Gordon Bombay, the coach, who starts out as a kid, winning penalty shot essentially, and or the final shot. He misses and they lose. There's like the only loss in like the Hawks history of that team. And as an adult, he becomes a lawyer and stuff. He's drunk, driving and stuff, and gets messed up. He has to do community service, has to coach the team. And it's just this shitty little team that doesn't even have a uniform or whatever, doesn't have all the safety stuff. And he does not give a shit about any of the kids. And then it starts, learning to, be okay with them. He has a older mentor, you could kind of say. I'm just calling him the mentor because that's technically the role of Hans with it. And, just kind of humbles him a little bit. And then he starts to bond with the kids. You guys all know this type of story, of course. It's not like you haven't seen it before, but they do it well. But by the third one, it's really a lot about them growing up, and it shifts from the focus from Bombay to Charlie, which I know, Tom, I think you said that Emilio Estevez couldn't be in the third one as much. Is that right?
He didn't want to be.
I think that was a good move, though, because it made when he is in the film, his importance, like it actually has better meaning and substance to the story. And even like the coach, Orion, who like replaces him as the coach, I think they do a good job with that approach as well. I mean, the kids.
He's the reason I didn't. It wasn't so much that Emilio Estevez had a reduced role in the third movie. I didn't like the new coach. I did not like him.
What do you remember about him? Because
I just remembered I didn't like him. I felt like they were trying too hard to make you like him. Like you knew he was going to be their coach. You knew at the end they were going to accept him, but it felt like they were just kind of shoehorning him too much.
I don't know. I mean, it's the first time in the series where they don't have villainous coaches necessarily. They don't have villainous teams. Like they have the varsity team is the other team, but it's more like a rivalry instead of the evil Iceland team or the evil Hawk team. It's like, I don't know. They bring you down to a more, you can kind of get it level than a good versus evil sort of thing that they almost do with them with that's our rival evil team that are in black and are all organized and hardcore. This was just the varsity is a little rougher essentially, but they are more cordial. But with the coach, I like his approach because he's just pretty strict. He's a normal strict coach. I played sports in high school. He just seems like a normal coach, honestly. And then Charlie has a hard time growing up. And he hates his coach. He hates his coach. But then it's like, dude, he's just tired of everything changing because Bombay's not there. Hans dies at a certain point in the movie. There's a lot of the Ducks are separated. They're not called the Ducks. There's the Warriors here. He's not liking anything going on. And he just hates Orion. He calls him, he's like, oh, you're just a washed up person from the stars, like somebody who left and is a stupid bully trying to coach now. You think you're cool. But he left his team because his daughter got in a car accident and he didn't want to move with the stars team to where they went to. So he stayed with his daughter and whatever. And it's just like the way that they do it just, I think, worked because the coach wasn't the focus. I liked how they did it. That's where Bombay was the focus. with the
Usually
other
when the
ones.
movies like the kids that they keep them on, it usually does shift focus to them, especially when they get into teenagers.
Yeah.
I think what was it that we talked about, Tom, when you mentioned that Emilio Estevez took it because he wanted to direct or something?
Yeah.
Yes,
Why
he
he
got a
was-
deal with Disney to direct the movie. Shit, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a post-Vietnam story with him and his dad, like the War at Home or something like that. It was called.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it wasn't under the Disney title. It was like
No,
Touchstone or
Touchstone
some
or
shit.
whatever. Yeah. But
Yeah.
they basically buried the fucking movie. They really fucked him over. And that was like that experience kind of turned him off of Hollywood for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. But I mean, so I'll go back to the first one for a sec. So I mean,
Actually,
that
he's
one
never
starts,
really come back. But yeah.
Yeah, he
First
never
one-
really fully.
first one starts with the kids essentially being, little kids doing little pranks. They make a dog eat some food, it poops, they put it into a purse, put $1 in a purse, and have some guy pick it up and you darn kids, and chases them, speed it up and play the music that plays with it. They do the cartoony-ish type of stuff with it here and there, but they do have their moments along the way that I think even as an adult you can watch and enjoy a little bit. I mean, some parts are annoying. Goldberg, he farts and everybody. Goldberg, he's what? I'm the fat kid, one of those things. But
This movie's chock
having-
full of stereotypes. That's the beauty of
Yeah,
it.
big
yeah,
time.
but it has it in a good way, I think, because they have the variety. They have even the girls on the team, but they never at once are like, we have girls on the team, huh? It's just
Disney,
one
you
of
were
those-
diverse back in the 90s. You forgot.
Yeah.
it was just like one of the things where at that age you could have some mix, because they're so young. You could have a mix of boys and girls at some of the level. There's usually only like one or two that are on the team anyway, usually at a time. And I don't know, it's just a funny little one for the first movie. I don't think is the best. It's not like it's the worst, but I think number 2 is the best, and how they do it. Because I mean man, it's a tough one.
Mighty Ducks 2 is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. All the edge completely shaved off. Soft as hell, safe as hell. That's what I felt about part 2. I like it, but it's like, this is way too kiddie.
It does get a little more kiddier than compared to the first movie.
I mean,
he was literally drinking and on the ice, and was that's where you get the Bad News Bears type thing. And the second one is so much more like kidlier, friendlier, but it's still a good movie.
I mean, I don't know. When you rewatch them, I want to hear what you think with that. But the third one, I think, is my favorite now after watching it, because they're growing up for the most part. Charlie's a stubborn little brat. Essentially, he's like 14. He's supposed to be 14. He's just like a rebellious little turd. And when Hans dies, like Charlie's just been this asshole this whole movie. And then this is when Bombay comes in and shows him a little bit more, or humbles him down a bit. And Bombay, I feel like, he's the new mentor from Hans. Essentially, Hans was the old Yoda. Essentially, Bombay was the Obi-Wan, let's say. And he's, helping. He comes back and helps this little generation get their asses back in gear a bit. The first game that they play in the third one was really good, where our Ducks team, as we know them, are dominating. They were in like the USA, games and stuff. Like they were doing that, and it's high school now, and they're just dominating this team 9-0. But in the third period, the other team tightens up their defense and just goes hard and just catches up and ties it. And I thought that was good, because in the first half, they're doing all this. They do silly sound effects. They do their little tricks, and it's kind of funny. But then it goes into like a record scratch. Now we're a little bit more serious. And the music they even choose with it, there's like little choruses that they do here and there that make it kind of good. Like, I'd say it's like got some good quality to it. So I think the third one, if when was the last time you saw it though?
Probably not since I was like in my
early
going on, maybe not even early 20s.
Man.
Maybe I was in my
I'm saying if you
years.
rewatch it, I think you'd see it differently. But I don't
know, because I remember watching it and not really liking it. I remember also thinking that they were just trying to repeat the second movie, because it literally is like, but even though they're older this time, they have another chance at a new team, just like they were the America's team. And by the end of the movie, they become the Ducks. And
I mean, to say that they're repeating the second film because they also try to do the Ducks at the end, though. I mean,
no, they were literally Team USA, and then by the end of the movie, they were wearing the Mighty Ducks uniforms. They become the Mighty Ducks. That school was called something else, and then by the end of the movie, they become the Mighty Ducks. That's what I
but
mean. Like
I'm
they
saying
literally,
that's not integral to the story, though. Is what I'm saying. That's a very
it just felt
that's
very
a very minor
repetitive.
aspect of the whole story. So
It just felt very
don't know.
repetitive.
well, I think all three of them have they do a lot of similar things.
That's what happens with sequels, though. They
It's a
tend to be
formula. It's
repetitive.
also
and they
each of
get
them
go down
does
at
a
these-
formula. Each of them does a formula, though. But I'd say that the third one, if you watch them all in a row, especially,
have to say
there's a
you're
lot of
probably
differences. So,
in the rarity of the one that likes the third one the most. I would say you're probably in the rarity there.
right, but it's like how many people have rewatched the movies? So
I couldn't tell.
kind of the thing that I'm getting at right here. You can have if you watch something. I don't think everything you watched from 20 years ago. If you rewatch it, you'll feel the same. I just don't think so.
Typically, I'll be honest. Typically, I do. Because I typically my first judgment is that sometimes I won't lie. Sometimes I'll watch something and go, "Hey, maybe I did like that. Maybe I didn't." But I don't know. I really would have to go back and watch it. But from my recollection, I remember just not liking the third one that well.
Okay, that's cool.
But I did hear that one point in time, I can't remember. I think maybe it was the original director of the first movie. He was wanting to do another Mighty Ducks movie, and he wanted to get real serious with it. And it was going to be like a present day and flashback type movie where they were all going to be adults. And I believe like he had Jim Belushi was going to play Goldberg. And what it was they were all going to be like meeting at this bar because Coach Bombay had died. And Martin Sheen was actually going to play Martin Sheen, who is Emilio Estevez's dad, was going to play him as an old man. And what they were going to do is like the Mighty Ducks team was going to be at this bar. It was after his funeral. They were going to be drinking and telling stories about, and then they would be flashing back to the cast of, them at the age they were, like in their 30s.
They did 20s. The Wish version of that in the Mighty Ducks TV show, although Bombay was still alive.
Did they?
Yeah, they had them all meet at a bar, and it was like the most depressing reunion ever because like most of the kids there are like not even the main kids, and half of them are like kids that tagged along afterwards.
Right. Well, that's actually the thing when you watch the movies, they cut off a lot of kids as they go, and they kind of narrow it down.
None of the original kids, except for I think Goldberg. I think was the original kid there.
Number 3, the original ones that were from the first movie is Averman and Fulton and Banks and Connie and Deke and Goldberg. I think those are the main ones from.
And again, like by the time you get to the Mighty Ducks TV show, which you can't even watch anymore because I believe they pulled it down. From
I never saw that one. I heard
first season was all right. First season was all right. Second season, I don't know because I didn't watch it because they
pulled it.
They shit canned Emilio Estevez because he refused to get the vaccine.
Yep.
Man, that's disappointing. I wanted to check it out now after I just rewatched these and see. I was going to see how it is.
You can always pirate it if you want.
Yeah, you can always pirate it, I guess. But like, the first season was actually not too bad. It kind of is like a nice little nostalgic kind of trip, kind of Cobra Kai-ish, but not exactly Cobra Kai. I mean, it's a little heavier handed on the new kids than in the older sense. But what it is basically Bombay spent whatever money he had left on the old hockey rink, and it's fallen into disrepair. And you have a similar setup where kid's mom wants him to play hockey and all that kind of stuff, and of course he doesn't fit into the team he's on, so they start up the new district again, same kind of deal. And of course the inspiration is to get Coach Bombay to coach the kids, but he says no.
Yeah,
but he says, I'll help you teach the kids through you. So that's kind of where it gets a little woke, because he's like, no, I won't do it, but I'll show you how to do it, kind of thing, to the mom. So the mom's the actual coach. And then it actually gets to a thing where the kids, because that's the thing, is the kids like vote her out as coach and vote him in. And then it's like this whole thing near the end that he can't coach him because he wasn't the original coach. And when they go to the playoffs and shit like that, it's an all right kind of reunion kind of thing. But like I said, it's kind of sad when they get to the reunion bit with all the older kids now grown up, because like they literally grabbed whoever the fuck they could, and it was like the lowest bottom of the barrel Mighty Ducks kids. You don't have any of the famous kids. Yeah.
Right. Well,
exactly. Like none of the famous kids outside of Goldberg, and he is rough looking as fuck. Because that was when that story came out.
Yeah, when he had drugs and stuff.
He was Russ and came into the Mighty Ducks too.
Somebody will remember. I think most of the kids were from like Mighty Ducks 2. That was the sad part. But yeah, because I think
I got you.
I think the pie eater was there. I think the
thanks.
chick was there with him.
Funny.
The one that came in the second one.
Or Julie,
and
then. That's Julie.
I think I can't remember. But I'm like, none of these kids are from the first movie. That's all I remember.
Well,
Maybe Aberman was there, but I'm not 100%.
But one good thing I'll say too about the cast is even though it's a large amount of characters and stuff, you can kind of point them out, is what I'm saying. I don't think that their names are too forgettable when they say them, but some of them don't get as much screen time, but you kind of compare them without them being as much of a stereotype, except for number 2, sort of, when they introduce Luis and Julie and Dwayne. He's the cowboy one.
Okay,
he's the Mexican one.
I was right. Averman showed up. Fulton Reed showed up.
Yeah.
Guy Germain showed up. Adam Banks showed up. Connie Moreau.
Right.
Ken Wu. And Dean Portman, and like I said, I think most of those are from the second movie.
Yeah,
I remember right.
From D2, they were the international players for Team USA.
I always found it funny, like Eldon Henson, who was Fulton Reed, who was on the Daredevil TV show. I always remember thinking he was such a big dude in those movies. And then you see him now, and he's really not that big of a guy.
No. He didn't grow it past that point. He's the same size.
Really big at all.
When I was watching Daredevil, I was like, for the longest time, I was like, this motherfucker looks so familiar.
So I was wrong. Goldberg, I got mixed up with Fulton. So they never did get Goldberg in there. They tried digging him up, but he was all fucked up on drugs. Fulton is in there. He's the most famous of the bunch.
Yeah.
Right? So that would be the kid, as Bryant points out in the chat, played Foggy on the Netflix Daredevil.
Yeah.
And he would have been the big kid that they find in the first film. Yeah. So him and Averman, I think, are the only ones from the first movie in the actual show.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the takeaway though I'd say from the movies is that they're definitely worth a rewatch if you guys ever watched them before, and if you haven't seen them, I'd say they're worth. I
got them on Blu-ray from the Disney Movie Club.
Don't take my praise of these movies as if I'm saying that they're fucking amazing and they're one of the best ever. No, don't misunderstand me, but they're good.
Man,
they're good
I thought that's what you meant.
I feel like when I'm talking about a movie I just watched and I'm praising it, sometimes people are like, "Wow, he's talking like this is Shakespeare." No, it's not as bad.
That's why, like,
I understand where you're coming from. Greg and Tom kind of view me like that. Whenever I I'm like, oh my god, I love this movie. They think I'm praising it like it's Shakespeare, like you say, and it's like, no, like.
Because there's a lot of goofy shit in here too. That's kind of like,
yes,
but that's
exactly
like how often do we I feel like I rag on more things more often than I do praise stuff. So I was doing a little more praise on that one,
but that's how I get with my reviews. Because like when I find a movie I like, I'll like, oh, this is freaking awesome and everything. Then I think to myself, maybe I shouldn't have gone that hard.
Well, I think it's especially when I'm recommending it, like when I think that people would see it, even if I don't think that it's like, even if I see a movie that I think is bad, I sometimes recommend the bad movie because it's worth seeing for whatever reasons that somebody else could pull out of it. Sometimes like that, I feel like you can get a lot from different stuff here, but these are not bad. I will say they're not bad.
Like the first two, like I said, I remember not liking the third one, but it has been a very long time since I've seen them, so I'd have to go back and rewatch them to see. But I'm pretty sure I probably still wouldn't like the third one, but I'd have to give it a shot. I don't
know. I mean, for me, I feel like I've learned a lot of different things, and then I can critique things differently as for myself at my age here. So there's things that I've watched even 5 years ago that I might think differently on depending on what it is, like
it's true.
Yeah. So, but I mean, and that's the thing too. I'm in a stage in my life, I guess, where I'm willing to give everything a try. So, but you're 10 years ahead of me, so you might be done with that. So it's like,
you hear that, ladies and men?
Yeah.
That's Mighty Ducks. Pronto's on. I thought we should do the Mighty Ducks guy since that's been a meme for a little while.
Mighty Ducks. I gotta clip that.
Dude.
I gotta clip that.
Dude, I watched. I don't know if I watched that live.